dude. Jay is and was one of the top Coldwell Banker agents in America several years. He sold over 4,300 homes. The Inc. 5,000 list 6 years in a row, and now is with eXp Realty, absolutely setting the world on fire when it comes to real estate in the Dallas Fort Worth area in Texas. Dude, yeah, everything going, my friend.
Man, it could not be better. I'm blessed. I can say that. That's for sure.
Good. Hey, talk to me, Jay, real quick. Obviously, we've got a pretty wide audience when it comes to business. We talk a lot about mindset, strategy, multiplication through leadership development.
Yep.
When you were with Coldwell Banker, we talked off air just a minute ago. You finished the number 2 Coldwell Banker agent in America several years in a row. Talk to us kind of about that process and growth and development there.
Well, I mean, just like anything else, the thing I think if you were to point to my success has always been, I'm not the smartest kid in class. I just always sit next to him. So I've modeled success, and I don't know if I was just dumb enough to do that or just smart enough to do that, but that's been what I've always done is I find the person that's got where I'm trying to get to. And then ideally someone that has helped other people get there too. Right. Like that's the right mentorship. And, as you're growing and, as I grew my real estate team, you learn a lot to get to 100,000, you learn even more to get to 1 million. And then, every level up, there's all these layers of things that you learn along the way. And multiplication of leadership, I learned mostly through my coaching organization because it was the biggest. We built that up to about 10 million in revenue. So but it's always, there's somebody there that's been where you're at and that can help you navigate those waters. So that to me has been my secret to success has been finding the right people to mentor under and just learn from those that have already accomplished what it is you're trying to do. It's really quite simple, right?
It's funny. In my 10X planner every day, I've got a quote, and it's the same one. It's getting rooms with people who think bigger than you do.
Right. That's
If you're
it.
the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the wealthiest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You've got it. I love that, dude. The smartest. Yeah, I'm not the smartest kid. I just sit next to him. I may adopt that. You may see all that on my website in the future. Hey, talk to me about some obstacles, some mindset challenges, Jay. As you started in real estate, I heard you say before, I think your average price point back in the day was like $70,000 to $100,000 or something like that. Talk to me about some of the hurdles in becoming one of the top agents in America.
Yeah. So, man, I mean, I think definitely one of the things that did help was getting into different groups and coaching and masterminds and things like that. And seeing people. I remember sitting in the room with a guy that was sitting like two seats down from me, and he gets up to the mic and he's like, "Yeah, thanks. I sold 400 homes," and I was like, "400 homes? How in the world?" So like my mind, once he got expanded to like, man, there's people that can do this, and I thought, well, shoot, if there is a way, so I guess I have to figure that out. But man, I have to tell you. I got more horror stories and more near-death experiences in building my businesses than anything else. And I'm glad you asked because it's Darren Hardy says, and I love the description he gives, the pendulum swings to failure before it swings to success. And then you got to swing it more to failure to have more success, and even more to failure to have even more success. And I wish there was a shortcut and a way to not have those mistakes and learn all those lessons. But man, that's what got me to where I am today. And so the biggest challenge was probably I had the false belief that I was invincible. I had never had a year where I didn't do better until 2007 hit. And boy, oh boy, was that a wrecking ball for my entire portfolio of everything, right? So new construction, rental properties, selling real estate, coaching company just started. I mean, it was horrendous. And so literally lost everything. I remember I tell people I canceled my Netflix. Like back then it was like $7.99. And that's how tight things were. Was that like, if you ever look at your statement and be like, that has to go, that's how tight it was. And so it was the hardest time of my life trying to navigate the waters at the time. I had a bunch of listings. They started ballooning up. They were all overpriced. I couldn't get them reduced fast enough. And everybody was pissed off. The whole world was coming to an end is what it felt like. And that was the hardest time. And it took, I remember it wasn't until 2008. I just dunked down and worked my way through it as much as I could. And I didn't have a choice but to finally take my head out of the sand and look at the debt that was amassed from all of that, all the stuff that I had leveraged to try to survive all that. and leveraged all my rental properties, and all my credit cards were charged up. I remember Chase. I remember I tried to make a little room on my Chase card. I paid $2,000, and then they reduced it down $2,000. I was like, y'all sons of bitches, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was needing that working capital so I could get back on my feet. It's like everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. But coming through all of that, I finally added up. I was laying in bed. My wife she was my girlfriend at the time. I remember she was in there. I finally just put it in a spreadsheet and I added it all. It was like $638,000 in bad debt that I came out of that with. And I was like, man, all I can do is just keep working. And there was nothing. I didn't have any levers to like chip away at it like I wanted to. Like in the past, I would flip a house or do this or that. Everything was maxed out. I had nowhere to go except for just to chip away at it, just every single day, work. And so that was a tough time for me. I don't know. I mean, anybody who's in real estate that went through 07, 08 had to have had a lesson learned.
I was a mortgage broker in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama at the time. Oh, it was insane. Yeah.
Right.
I had 13 rental properties. This is what I had at the time. Pretty much exactly where you were. Hey, Jay, talk to me about, like, it's funny. We talk about those times now, and if you weren't in real estate back then, you really don't have any idea. Like, they think COVID, like, sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, but back then it was a cakewalk.
Yeah.
Literally, I remember telling somebody in February of 08, Fannie Mae had changed guidelines twice, September and again in January. I had 11 loans that were my deals on my desk in February of 08. The year before, I'd have closed them all, made about 55 grand that month that were my money, not counting all my LOs that worked for me in my different offices, and we closed 0 of them. And that's when I realized in February of 08, I was like, damn, we're in trouble. Like, this ain't good. Like, this ain't good at all. Talk to me about what you learned, Jay, and because obviously now it's, you're crushing it, dude. You're one of the top agents in America, but talk to me about like that kind of crucible, or that, that year to 2 year period in 07, 08, which freaking sucked. Talk to me about some transferable principles you learned then that helped make you who you are today.
Yeah, I think the thing that resilience, man. I mean, like, there were people that I saw that came out of that, and they just stayed in the corner. They didn't come out swinging. And I learned some lessons. I learned is when a downturn comes, my two biggest takeaways. The first one was cut deeper and cut faster than you feel like you should when you feel like it's going into a downturn, or there is an evident downturn that's coming. That I took too long to make decisions. I would cut down 10 grand and then the next month I'd cut out another 10 grand. I was like, well, why didn't I do 20 grand the first month? Well, because I was trying to just whittle away at it. And instead I should have weathered the storm and made the tougher decisions sooner, but I cared too much about people. And, know what I know now, I would have made more decisions. I'd made them faster as it relates to that. That was probably the biggest lesson that I learned coming out of the downturn, and just the fact that you can weather any storm, like you can get through it. I think it increased my fearlessness of building a business, because if you're being strategic and you're paying attention, you understand doing the right things in the right order, and you're looking at the numbers and you're running your business like a business, you can usually weather a storm pretty easy, a lot easier than I think I would have probably been able to do it. But yeah, and you got to know the numbers, and you got to manage your business by the numbers. That was the other thing that coming out of that was I wanted to run a profitable business without me in it. Not even in the CEO role. I wanted to be an off org chart, person in the company. And in order to do that, I had to start running my business like a real true business. And that was the other thing that came out of that. And it was not, as an entrepreneur, it's not what I was naturally any good at. I had a guy that ran the numbers. I managed based on cash flow, and then when everything in the shit hit the fan. And the worst part about this was at that time, the same exact time, we had our Kinder Reese coaching business. We had a guy that he told me at dinner, I'll never forget this as long as I live. He said we're going to hire him as a COO essentially. And it was accounting. He said, if accounting was an Olympic sport, I'd be a triple gold medalist. I was like, you're hired. But what he did was he took us off of payroll, started managing checks himself. And when we lost 90% of our revenue overnight, it was a website company that got sued, and then they couldn't pay us. We were killing it. And so we had all these employees and this whole new company and everything else. And he decided not to pay the payroll tax. And so we find out in about, I guess it was probably May of 2007 or somewhere right in there, we found out $100,000 worth of payroll tax hadn't been paid. had no idea because he wasn't telling us any of this stuff when he was guarding the mail. So that was a big lesson learned that in 07. At the same time, I go back because I'm going back and forth from Dallas to Oklahoma. I go back to Oklahoma. My right-hand guy, my top 3 buyer agents, and my listing coordinator, along with my business partner on all my flips and my developments and all that stuff, decided they were going to partner and start their own real estate company. So like it was just it was a total whirlwind.
Dude, how did you make it? How'd you make it through that, Jay? I mean, you're talking about mindset. You had to have told yourself every single day, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. I woke up. I remember so my business partner, Mike Reese, every morning, Mike's the kind of guy that he will call you. He's going to call you, and it's going to be the first digit's going to be a 4, just because he wants to say he called you before, at 4 something. You know what I'm saying? Like every single day. And so we were up early, and I remember driving in. It was raining real hard one day. I was listening to Rick Ross every day, hustling. I was like, I ain't never gonna quit. I'm never gonna quit. You know what I'm saying? Like we were coming out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we just believed that we were going to come out of it. And both companies were in bad, pretty bad shape. We were writing checks to the coaching company just to keep it going, and then it lost all its revenue. So we weren't even getting a check from that. I remember we paid ourselves $1,000 the very first time. And then the next week he finally gave us the financials, and we had to write a $30,000 check back into the company. I was like, this is just not going the way it was supposed to go. But having gone through all that is what made me believe I knew we were just on the other side of greatness. We just had to keep pushing, and that's, I think that, going through those tough times, you couldn't have told me that and prepared me that. You couldn't have put me in a class to prepare me for that. I had to experience that. And, it made me better for it.
How much more do you appreciate where you're at right now because of what you went through?
Man, it's hard to even express where people would understand it. We had some, with the coaching company became NAEA, we still have that company. It's not quite as large as it was. But we had some real good lessons learned there, man, along the way as you're building, developing, leading, talent. And along the way, there was a big leadership lesson I learned in that Lawton office too. I can tell you here in a second, but there was a lot of leadership lessons along the way in building and growing and people and building up this huge organization but it was never off. You know what I'm saying? Like every day at 4, I was up. You can go back to my Instagram, go back 2.5 years ago since I've been at EXP. I was up every day at 4 o'clock. Every day, every single day. And I don't have to do that now. And that feels good. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about all the employees. I don't have to worry about the balance sheet. I like this business model of EXP. It's a pretty good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm forever grateful for that. Not having to wake up and think about those problems every day like I had to before.
Yeah. One of the things I say a lot is if you need an alarm clock to get out of bed in the morning, your goals aren't big enough. Like literally, dude. I'm a card dude. My goal is 2 times a day, baby. We're writing them down. I don't need an alarm clock. Now, every now and then, if I play basketball too long one morning, the next morning maybe an extra 30 minutes of sleep.
Right, a little soreness.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Hey, talk to me real quick. So we've got agents out here that are watching us today, and I know we've got several agents that are in our coaching program and watching podcasts and our virtual summits. Talk a little bit about EXP and why EXP.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's so dadgum much better than anything that's ever existed. And it's hard for people to get their head around that. I know for me, I used to coach people to go independent. Ultimately, you get to a certain point, you're paying a brokerage too much money. You're the brand. The brand doesn't matter. You should go independent. That's what we did. The difference is this is a completely different business model. It's nothing we've ever seen before. They give ownership, stock in the company. It's a publicly traded company. Go look at the stock. Go look what it's done in the last 3 years. I got the stock starting almost 3 years ago. November will be 3 years. The stock was trading at $3.61. It was at $34 or something. Just this yesterday, today, probably still trading somewhere in that range right now. So you can say it's really easy to say, yeah, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. It absolutely matters. It matters a lot to anybody who's at EXP and who's been purchasing the stock at a discount. And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, but I can buy the stock. I can stay where I'm at and I can buy the stock. Yeah, but you won't. You won't take every 5% of every commission and buy it at a 10% discount. You won't do it. You aren't disciplined enough to do it. And real estate agents just inherently aren't. So we don't have an exit strategy. Like as much as I would love to say, I was so successful selling 500 homes a year. The month that I sold 50, I remember the first month I hit 50 sales was a shit month. It was just a ass whooping of a month. And I was like, damn, I got to do it again next month because it's seasonal, right? So like I might have a great month, 50, great. You know what I'm saying? But going into, it's like COVID-19 going into winter every year. You know what I'm saying? Like it always slowed down. And it was like, hopefully we can survive and not be, be at break even and not lose too much money so that we can, we'll be good to go and come February when everything kicks back, in gear in March. And so like, it was always that way. And so I would love to say I did a great job saving. I bought a bunch of rental property and stuff like that, but I didn't do a good enough job investing. In 2007, 2008 wiped me out. Right. So I was like, start over. Okay. So like, I would love to, my 23 years in real estate, have had this one thing that was happening for me that was just building up something for an exit. And, we don't think about that until we get closer to the exit. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, right. I'm 60 now, maybe start thinking about, I talked to a guy that came over for Remax the other day, 30 years in the business. He's like, I can't believe he was so excited. He's like, I can tell you right now, I did not save enough. I'm still working. I'm not because I wanted to, because I didn't save enough. I wasn't prepared for the future financially. Mm-hmm. And that he was just, he's a great, songbird for EXP because he understands that what happens if you don't get serious about your money, you're going to look up and 30 years has gone by. And that's just the reality with real estate. And we love it and we work and we go sell more houses and do all that, but we're not saving enough for the future. And the stock's just one piece of that puzzle that is we become owners in the company. So that's one piece of it.
Yeah, talk about a couple other pieces. If you're an agent today, and obviously stock, the buyback on the 10% discount. Now it just went up. It was, I don't even remember what it was, $11 a share, $14 a share when I got connected just even a month and a half ago.
Right. Yeah. And it'll go up, it'll go back down, and it'll probably go back up again. So it's stock that's what stock does. You just got to, you're along for the ride is how I look at it. So the second thing was, and this was a big deal for us because, when you think about revenue share, a lot of people don't understand it. They think they got to be a recruiter or something like that. It's nothing like that. The reality is that the business model of being a cloud-based brokerage instead of a franchise model, being a brokerage model means that there's nobody that owns a region that's going to be incentivized to go recruit franchisees that go recruit agents. So there's no growth mechanism in the model. So you have to figure out, well, how are you going to grow this company? And what Glenn did, which was brilliant, is he said, I'm going to make this opportunity so big that the right people are going to come join this company and they're going to help us grow it. And any agent has the opportunity to tell a friend and tell that person, tell a friend, and this, so on and so forth. And that is what happens because people get into the company and they love it. But you have the ability to earn revenue share off of agents that you help, grow the company. So what's happened, and I would like to say we weren't the first, but we were probably one of the first that understood the opportunity. And we came over when there was 5,000 agents, understanding that we had a value proposition that we could add and help other people when they come over and help them with agent attraction and help them with growing their business. And that would be there's some alignment there. Now we're financially aligned. We don't have to charge a bunch of money for some of the things that we were doing in the past. And we get kind of aligned everything to EXP. It took us a little while to get everything in alignment, but that was the idea. It was like, hey, we could go do this and we don't have to charge quite as much money as we did in the past and sell real estate agents. If we build this huge group of people at EXP, we'd be adding value and they wouldn't have to pay us and we get paid on the back end. And that looks like a pretty good business model for us. And so that was a big piece of it for us, as understanding we could get paid passive income on the revenue share. And it doesn't take long. I mean, that's
so when you say passive revenue from income share, kind of put some handlebars on that. Break that down just a little bit so people understand.
Yeah, so it's going to sound complex. It's not. It's similar to Keller Williams model. So if people know Keller Williams, they're the largest, and it worked better. It worked really well. It was profit share at Keller Williams. Profit share had 7 tiers of profit share, and you basically earned, you could earn it into 7 levels of profit share generation from a friend who brought a friend who brought a friend ongoing and so on and so forth. And so that was pretty cool. It was revolutionary at the time. Revenue share is a whole nother animal. Revenue share is off the top. Okay. When somebody closes a deal, you get paid off the top. That's a royalty deal. That's exactly what regional ownership got in the past. We would all pay royalties and then they get a cut of that. So getting paid off the top is the deal. I always like to explain it as like, okay, everybody knows Mr. Wonderful on what you would call it, right? So on what the hell is the show called? Shark Tank. So Mr. Wonderful is always like, when everybody's out, you can see his greedy little hands over there. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. But what does he want? He wants the royalty deal. He wants to get paid off the top. Well, why does Mr. Wonderful want to get paid off the top? Because you get paid off. You're going to get paid if you get paid off the top. He doesn't have to worry about management, ownership, making any profit share. You got to worry about all that. You don't have to worry about that in revenue share. So that's a deal you don't see very often, right? Like I've never seen a deal where somebody was offering revenue share off the top. And so that's a really good deal. And the fact that you can earn up to 7 generations deep means that it can actually exponentially grow. And that's what happens with the right people that you bring on, and you don't know who's going to do it. You know, somebody has a connection to somebody else that they bring on, and they get it and they go full speed just into trying to do agent attraction and bringing agents over. You have no idea how it's going to play out, but it's fascinating, and it's a huge opportunity, and it's one of the reasons that the company is growing so fast, and it's a significant financial opportunity, as you know. That's for
yes.
Sure.
Yeah, most definitely. I was actually in the process of getting my broker's license in Georgia and Alabama when I got connected with John Jennings, and then he got me connected with Brent. And I sat down with them in Napa, and I was like, "Dang, this is really, really good." Yes, doesn't take a rocket science. I'm like you, dude. I'm not the sharpest tool in the woodshed, not the smartest kid, but I know how to sit next to the smartest kid.
Right.
That's why I get around Brent as much as I can. We talked earlier about mindset, about things that you learned. Talk to me about some of the strategies for you as an agent coming into, the new world of EXP, and kind of how real estate's kind of transitioned a little bit, and even some through COVID. Talk to me about some strategies, some things that you guys have seen success with, Jay.
So my strategy, well, I mean, the number one strategy I think today is, and to break it down to the principles, if you're in real estate, the goal is you could go get buyer leads, and that's one strategy, but I've always been a focus of going on the listings, get the listing. If you get the listing, you're going to get the buyers, right? So that's always been my focus. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to content and lead generation, things of that nature, I focus on the seller side of the business, because I know that once you become the most known person in your niche, you know what I'm saying? And people call you because of who you are. And that's the holy grail for real estate, is when you have inbound business and you're not chasing business, right? So that's always been the move that I would make. And today, even more than ever, and it's been this way for a while, there wasn't really a lot of content game that you could play back when I was, we did a little bit of stuff, but it wasn't near as easy to do as it is today. Like, we did a radio show, which would be a podcast today. But I think content is the king, right? You want to be the first person people think of when the topic of real estate comes up, in whatever niche it is that you are, whether it's your entire city, or it's your neighborhood, or it's golf course homes in your area, or whatever it is that that's your niche. You want to become it's top of mind. It's just, that's it. And everything in marketing is reach and frequency. So it's how many people see the message, how many times they see the message. And where real estate agents typically fail, and where most marketing typically fails, is not enough frequency, bigger reach. A lot of people saw it once, never saw it again. And so, with Facebook today, it's so easy for you to create a piece of content. And if you create a piece of really good content and somebody consumes it, you can serve up to them more content that's relative to what they watched the first time. And so if somebody clicks on the 10 things you must know before selling your home post COVID-19 or whatever, right? If they click on that, I know that they're probably thinking about selling their house. Now I can serve up to them as much as I want, different things that are going to, again, position me as the expert, position me as the go-to person, the source of all information, real estate. And that's their strategy that I see working the most. The people that are taking the time to create the content and use that strategy to get in front of people and educate and inform are the ones that are winning today. And before, it used to be TV, radio, and all these other medias, which they all still work, billboards, all that kind of stuff, still great. But you get a lot more. And I used to say this when we were selling products, time spent with me equals money spent with me. You come to a 3-day event, you're going to spend a lot more money with me. You come to a 2-hour webinar, you're going to spend more money with me. You watch a few videos, you're going to be more likely to do business with me. And that's been, to me, that's the bigger opportunity for agents that aren't afraid of getting on a podcast and having a conversation and just being real and sharing genuine, valuable information.
Yeah. Hey, number one principle for you business wise, growing your business. What would you say that would be, Jay?
Man, number one principle. Yeah. So, now that I'm at EXP, I would say it's be radically open-minded. Assume you're wrong. Right. So like, if I had not been radically open-minded, that's Ray Dalio's, one of Ray Dalio's principles. Yeah. But I had just read the book when I joined EXP. You couldn't have convinced me to join another brokerage. I wasn't listening. I wasn't that. Right. And you wouldn't even penetrate, because I wasn't truly being open-minded. But after I read that book, and I remember I was reading that chapter to my wife and my kids, and I was just trying to, I was teaching it like I learned better when I'm teaching anyway. So I was teaching it. And then, then I'm watching this EXP video and I'm like, all right, are you being open-minded or not? It was fresh for me. Right. And so like being radically open-minded, assuming, what I spent 23 years of my life building, that was my vision, that we had 40 employees and we were championing that all day long, was what if there was a better way? What if there's a better way? And, that to me, if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be here at EXP. And that would have been a tragedy, because, this was such a better business model that, being radically open-minded and transparent is like the principle that I think you have to live by.
Yeah, it's going to make you wealthy.
Right. It is, absolutely.
Most definitely. Yeah, it's going to make you wealthy, and it really is the exponentially faster than you would have just being a broker and running your own team.
100%.
Jay, what's the best way for people to connect with you, my friend?
Man, I'm easy. You can find me on Instagram. Jay Kinder. I'm pretty easy to find, either there or on Facebook.
Awesome, dude. I got to get you on next month's virtual summit. We've got one tomorrow. We do them once a month. We got about 7 or 8 thought leaders from, literally all different spaces. I've got models tomorrow. I've got sales guys in Europe whose businesses are worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wow.
We do about 10 minutes. Each speaker does 10 minutes. Then we do 5 minutes of Q&A. It's about 2 hours long. We're doing tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Got some killers on lineup. So love to have you. Jay, thanks for joining us today, man. I can't wait to get together and hang out. If Brent's event hadn't got canceled, I'm sure we'd been hanging out this week or in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today on our Grow Stack Drive podcast. My friend Jay Kinder. Jay, again, thank you, my friend, for your time today.
Absolutely.
Look forward to connecting. Thanks for all the information. Resilience, fearlessness, cut deeper and faster. Some nuggets that you dropped on us as business owners, regardless of whether you're in real estate or not. But hey, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for being a part of our Grow Stack Drive podcast today. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern time with our virtual summit. Got some phenomenal guests coming on. We'll see you then. Thanks, Jay.